Hey guys, welcome to today's video. We're going to be going over this week's slate of NFL games and predicting who's going to come out on top in each game. Before we get started though, please drop a quick like and a sub on today's video. It would really help my channel grow. I'd really appreciate that. With that said, let's dive right into the video and I hope you enjoy. Well, it's that time of the week once again. It's back to our weekly game picks. Obviously my channel has been a little bit on the downcline lately. I haven't been posting too many videos, but let's get back to these weekly game picks. First game of the week, my Miami Dolphins at home playing the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday Night Football. Dolphins did end up winning that game last week against Houston Texans. Arguably the ugliest game the entire season. So many turnovers. It was just not a pretty game whatsoever. But this is a big opportunity for the Dolphins to add some momentum. Back-to-back games at home. I don't think they get the win, though. Baltimore is a team that's fighting for the playoffs. They're going to be a team in that conversation for the rest of the year. They sit at 6-2 right now, and they're scary on offense. They're scary on defense. I think that they're going to be able to easily beat this Miami Dolphins team that's really struggling, especially if Tua is still injured by Thursday. Now we've got the Cleveland Browns and the New England Patriots. Patriots coming off a really big win against the Carolina Panthers, really owned that game defensively. The Cleveland Browns obviously coming off a pretty big win against the Cincinnati Bengals. Both teams are coming off pretty commanding victories. For me, the storyline is how will the Patriots defense will be able to stop the running attack of the Cleveland Browns, obviously with Nick Chubb. And as we move forward, hopefully they can get some other guys back. But really, it's Nick Chubb that they got to worry about in the run game. How well can they play defensively? The New England Patriots defense last week was really good. It just was. So that's going to be that offense versus that defense is really going to be the storyline looking forward. Personally, at home, I actually kind of like the Patriots in this one. I'm not going to lie. Bill Belichick has a way of getting the most out of his defense, and more importantly, Baker Mayfield is a quarterback that if you pressure, can make mistakes, and especially if you are able to commit to stopping the run, I think the Patriots could actually have a sneaky good chance, especially if they play well defensively on Sunday. Now we've got the Bills, who obviously lost to the Jags last week, playing the Jets, who lost to the Colts, and although the Bills did lose to arguably one of the worst teams in the league in the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think this is a perfect game for them to bounce back. It's against the New York Jets, a team that they've owned in recent history, a team that's really struggled against them, and a team that has struggled this season, especially without Zach Wilson and their quarterback situation kind of being all over the place right now. Obviously, Mike White got injured last week. We'll see if he's back. So I think that this is a perfect game for the Buffalo Bills to rebound, especially after a really tough loss against the Jags last week. So let's have the Bills in this one. If this will ever let me click it. Hopefully it will. We'll see. Anyway, while we're waiting for that, let's move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence got banged up last week, so that's not a good sign. And I thought the Colts actually played a really good game against the New York Jets. They put up a lot of points. They really took advantage of the run game against the Jets, with Jonathan Taylor rushing for a lot of yards and Nyheim Hines being really productive behind him, both in the running game and the passing game. So overall, I think that Carson Wentz and the Colts are really finding their rhythm, finding their groove. They sit at 4-5 right now, but they're a team that needs to be reckoned with, and they're a team that needs to really be looked at. And I think moving forward, if they can get this win, they move to 5-5. They're right back in the middle of that playoff race, playoff hunt, and they're back in business, especially if they keep playing like the way they've been playing of late. So I really like the Colts in this one. I think that they have a really good shot to beat a pretty bad Jags team. Now we've got the Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs, and you know what? Normally I would say Kansas City Chiefs, give it to me. They got to bounce back. They beat the Packers last week on a football game, 13-7, beating the Packers. Obviously, no Aaron Rodgers. Jordan Love was in there for the Green Bay Packers, so he got the nod, and he couldn't end up getting the win. So the Chiefs won that game. But for me, the Raiders, they did lose to the Giants. This is a head scratcher here. Obviously, there's been a lot of turmoil with the Raiders in recent weeks, with Henry Ruggs a few weeks ago, but more importantly, John Gruden a few weeks ago. So they're still trying to find that balance and still trying to find that rhythm. However, against a Chiefs team and a Patrick Mahomes that has been struggling all year, it's really weird. It's almost like they've been figured out. Maybe they get Clyde Edwards-Helaire back next week. Don't really know yet. But nonetheless, I think that the Raiders have a really good shot to win. With the Chiefs team that's struggling, the Raiders did lose to the Giants last week, but I think that they might get it done against the Chiefs on Sunday. Now let's look at the Titans and the New Orleans Saints. And for me, it's got to be the Titans in this one. The Saints, have really struggled since, Jameis Winston went down with injury. Trevor Siemian, Taysom Hill, whatever that combo, could not beat the Atlanta Falcons last week. And the Tennessee Titans looked pretty good against the Rams during parts of that game. So at the end of the day, I think that the Titans win this game against the Saints. I thought, especially, in parts of that game last week against the Rams, the Titans defense really showed up, and it played well. I mean, they had a pick six. They picked off Matthew Stafford a couple times, really held him in check in that first half. I think the Titans get the job done. Their offense is going to be solid. They can throw the football a little bit, with Ryan Tannehill and AJ Brown. But more importantly, I think that their defense is where it needs to be to stop some of the bigger weapons on the Saints, like Alvin Kamara. Really, that's the only guy you got to stop. You got to stop Alvin Kamara. And at the end of the day, with Jameis Winston done, the Saints don't really have a shot at the playoffs, in my opinion. Lions and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers run game and Najee Harris is what gives them the win in this one. I think Najee Harris has been playing some really good football this year. I thought that, through 9 weeks of the season, he's been really productive, and I thought that he's really the guy there. And for the Lions coming off the bye, they're the worst team in the league. They haven't won a game yet. They've been struggling all year, and I think this is a game where they're going to continue to struggle. The Steelers are able to. They're not the same Steelers as we've seen over the past few years, but they're a Steelers team that can still play, and they're a Steelers team that can definitely gang up on those worst teams. And I think that they'll be able to beat the Lions pretty easily on Sunday. Now we've got the Minnesota Vikings and the Los Angeles Chargers. The Minnesota Vikings lost a heartbreaker in overtime to the Baltimore Ravens, while the Chargers were able to get the win over the Philadelphia Eagles 27-24 last week in a pretty tight battle. So these are two teams that are fairly competitive this year, and I think that Minnesota's run defense is going to be what comes down to it. It's going to be their defense in general, but I think their run defense with Austin Eckler at running back for that Los Angeles Chargers team, I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, a very high-scoring game. And at the end of the day, when you have Kirk Cousins, you got Justin Herbert, who gets more points? And you know what? I think Kirk Cousins in a shootout is going to be able to beat Justin Herbert. So I think that with the way Cousins has been playing of late, I think he's been throwing the ball really accurately. I thought he's doing what he needs to be doing, and being consistent and solid with the football. So I like how this Minnesota Vikings team is playing. They're always in games, no matter if they're winning or losing. They're always right around where they need to be. The Chargers have been some up and down teams of late, and I think that especially the Vikings are able to stop the run, which has been something that they have kind of struggled with, I think that they'll be able to beat the Chargers. Now, though, we've got the Eagles and the Broncos. And the Broncos coming off a really big win against the Dallas Cowboys. I think they continue to ride that momentum. They were able to shut arguably the NFL's best offense to not only 16 points, but really 0 points through the first half and through pretty much the third quarter. They were really, really dominant, allowing one of the best offenses in the NFL to only 16 points in the second half. Really fantastic, especially after not giving up at any points in the first half. And especially after losing Von Miller, too. I thought that this team was really, really good. They ran the ball really effectively, too, something that the Philadelphia Eagles have been up and down with defensively this year. But more importantly, I think that they can get after the quarterback. They can be annoying in the secondary, and that's how you stop the Eagles. You create chaos, because their offense at the end of the day is not very solid. So I like what the Broncos defense brings to the table against this Eagles team. Now we've got two teams that can put up a lot of points, and I think that the Falcons and the Cowboys is going to be an underrated matchup going into this week. For me, I got the Cowboys, though, if this Broncos one will ever let me click. I got the Cowboys, and the reason I got the Cowboys is the Falcons' defense is at the end of the day is the Falcons' defense. The Falcons' defense is pretty garbage at the end of the day. They're not one of the better defenses in the league, and I think they're really a defense that's been struggling all year. And with the Cowboys' offense and also their defense, they do show up. I like what Micah Parsons has done this year. I like what the secondary has been able to do with Trayvon Diggs. So I think that there is some talent back there for that Cowboys defense. So I'm going to give them the win. Now we've got two teams coming off the bye. It's the Bucs and the Washington football team. And for me, I think you've got to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, this is a team that has been a juggernaut all year, and I think that they're going to continue to be a juggernaut. This Washington football team defense especially has not been anywhere near what they were expected to be coming to the year. They've really struggled in that regard, and it's really hard to have a dominant defense back-to-back seasons, and that's being shown across the NFL, obviously with the Dolphins, with Washington, and with a few other teams too. It's very hard to have a consistently great defense year in and year out. The Washington football team haven't really been able to do that. The Bucs, on the other hand, have been fantastic on the offensive side of football. Really struggled in the pass defense, but have been really solid in the run defense. So overall, it swings, it comes and goes, it swings from roundabouts. But the Bucs offense is really going to be able to carry this team past the Washington football team, in my opinion. Now we've got the Carolina Panthers and the Arizona Cardinals. Although DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray were not there last week, weren't on the field for the Cardinals, they were still able to beat the 49ers. 31-17, pretty big win for them. Christian Kirk had a big game. So did obviously James Conner with over, I think, 40 fantasy points, had 2 rushing touchdowns, a receiving touchdown too. Really big game for him. So I think that, the run game against the Panthers, but more importantly, that really good Cardinals defense with Budda Baker and their ability to get to the quarterback with Chandler Jones. I think that will be a little bit too much for the Carolina Panthers and Sam Darnold. Now we've got the Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks, and this is going to be an interesting game. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to be back by then, but more importantly, maybe Russell Wilson comes and plays this game, and Chris Carson might be able to get back. Especially if those guys get back. I actually like Seattle in this one, to be honest. Especially if Jordan Love is playing. The Packers struggled last year without the likes of Aaron Rodgers, and I think with that said, I think that they'll be able to continue that struggle against the Seahawks, who, even in games with Geno Smith, have been able to stay in those games. So that'll be interesting to see next week. Now we've got the Rams and the 49ers. Obviously, the Rams were struggling a little bit last week. The 49ers also were able to lose. Else ended up losing. So this is going to be two teams that are looking to get some momentum moving forward. I think the 49ers are going to be the team that is going to be on a little bit on the back seat here. I think the Rams definitely have the advantage. I like what their defense has been able to do this year. Jalen Ramsey had a really big game last week. Matthew Stafford's been really good so far this year, and Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and Darrell Henderson have looked fantastic. Look for the Rams to be the team to beat on that game on Monday night in San Francisco. I think that, Santa Clara. I think that the Rams will be able to get the win and hopefully keep the push for that, hopefully first seed for them in the NFC West and also the NFC in general. Obviously, they have the Cardinals in their division, so they're going to have to keep the foot on the pedal, but look for them to try and get the win against the 49ers next week.
And with that said, that's pretty much going to end the video for today. Did you agree with my analysis? Why or why not? Leave your comments and thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Also, if you're new around here, please drop a like and a sub on today's video. I'd really appreciate that. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. And until next time, see ya.